specifically now, because we had an interesting situation occur. Of course, everyone's aware of it at this point with the whole PulseX bug, which was more like a line of logic in the code that was misdirecting the funds, not a vulnerability, but it created an interesting situation, of course, where, and just as a recap for everyone, what the bug did was it routed all the transaction fees that everyone pays anytime you make a transaction on PulseX. All transaction fees, instead of being routed 77% to liquidity providers and the remaining through buy and burn, and 0.1% of that would go to an address you have no expectations of. The rest was routed to a buy and burn for PulseX. Instead of it being routed to the LP for 77%, it was just going to the buy and burn. So 100% of the transaction fee was going to the buy and burn. So people who were just liquidity providing were not earning any fees, but those who were liquidity providing and in the farms on PulseX were still earning incentives. So because of that, Richard Hart and his devs created, and I'll bring this up here in PulseX so everyone can see it, a version 2 of PulseX. And let me just switch over here. And so you can see V1 at the top here, and now we have V2. So Sloth, talk me through what does this mean for PulseX? Because now we have V2 has the liquidity provider fees, but there are no farms up so far on V2. Tell me your thoughts about this whole switch, or this whole V1, V2, everything's going through your mind right now. What do you see?
Yeah. So I will say like just kind of off the bat, like this was a mistake, and like basically like, yeah, kind of a failure on Richard Hart's part by not properly having the incentives up on launch for liquidity providers. Because like the core reason why you provide liquidity is because you're hoping the fees that you're earning are outperforming the impermanent loss that you have, or at the very least, the fees are providing you nice daily passive income, and you don't really care as much about the impermanent loss because you don't care which coin you own more of over the long term, right? So it's like sometimes, like even if it's a net loss, the daily cash flow can actually be more beneficial. Like I don't think necessarily you have to outperform impermanent loss all the time, or that's just attention. Anyways, the fees were not being paid, like you said. They were getting all to the buy and burn. So people were under the false premise, were providing liquidity under the false premise that they would be getting fees, and they're not, right? So like this is like a big mistake in my opinion. Now, what's come out of it is kind of like a happy coincidence, or like a happy mistake in some ways, because we have this interesting mechanic where there are two places you can provide liquidity. One, where it's the typical model that we all thought was going to happen. A percent goes to the buy and burn, and percent goes to the liquidity providers. But also we have another one where all of the fees get distributed to the buy and burn. So now Richard has an extra lever where it's like he can control more money that gets deposited into the happy accidents. That's what I was looking for. He can control or incentivize pairs because the farms on V1 are still earning incentive token. He can incentivize people to bring liquidity over to the V1 system, the V1 side of things, to pump more money into the whole system. Because what happens with the buy and burn, and a lot of people really focus on the effect on PulseX, but because most of the liquidity is bonded to each other, the buy and burn actually uplifts the whole ecosystem with it. Literally, like say like somebody runs an order through the USDC Ethereum pair right there, or the DAI Ethereum Pulse, or the USD Pulse pairs, USDT from Ethereum and Wrap Pulse. You know, it's possible through routing that some of that DAI or USDC ends up in, say, the incentive token to DAI pool based on the way the buy and burn runs its routing to purchase the PulseX. Like that is possible. So PulseX is always the thing becoming more scarce because PulseX is being pulled off of the market, but other things can pump with the buy and burn because you might be putting, say, USDC or DAI into the these other pools in order to get the PulseX that's being pulled off the market. So that kind of mechanic is actually really beneficial for someone like Richard, Now, I don't think you should be providing liquidity in V1 unless you're trying to earn incentive token. Like, unless you're like trying to accumulate incentive token, like you should not be doing that. You should always be on V2 if you're providing liquidity on a pair that's not incentivized with the incentive token, because there's really no point unless you want to be like completely altruistic and just give away your fees. But like for most people, like we're providing liquidity to make money. We're not providing liquidity to benefit the entire system. A byproduct of us making money is benefiting the whole system, but that incentive needs to be there.
Thank you so much for watching this clip. If you enjoyed it and you want to watch the whole stream, there is a link to the full stream in the description, as well as all the links to any guests that you're seeing in this stream as well. If you want coaching from me directly, you can go to the links in the description for either a 30-minute or 1-hour call, as well as a group call, which is a massive discount on my hourly rate for an hour and a half with up to 12 other people. I also have a book on Amazon that you can get in either paperback, hard copy, or Kindle, which the Kindle is absolutely free, as well as a free version of the book on my website in PDF format. So thank you again for watching this clip. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again very soon in the next one. Peace.